listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, we are trying so hard, John, and by January, I might have it. Hey, in the news, well, guess what? It seems like the government shutdown is just like looming a few days away from now. What do you think? Do you think there should be a showdown over the border wall? Or enough to where it can cause a shutdown? Well, I would like your feedback. Contact me at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. And it also seems like, well, people being homeless is on the rise. Big time, even with a great economy. I wonder what's up. Anyway, we got Anthony Hamilton will be on right after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give a buck or two. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
And check out the web, too, at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. If I sound a little out of it tonight, I am. I spent, quite a few hours yesterday at the doctor's because of my leg and trying to figure out what all is going wrong with it. Hey, Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Gary.
Well, you've been staying out of trouble?
Yeah, trying to.
Well, that's better than not. Now, you were going to do a play or something up in BC. Did it ever happen?
Yeah, it happened, and I did it in August.
Okay, well, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, we had a week run in the city of Nanaimo. Some of your local listeners, I'm sure, will know of Nanaimo. It's on on Vancouver Island, and it was the Fringe Festival, the Nanaimo Fringe Festival. And it was great. It's the first time I've ever done such a thing, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Got a lot of great feedback, sold some books, and met a bunch of nice people. And I did 5 performances in a week. And now I'm looking forward to doing it again. I have a couple of performances here in Victoria in January. And I'm doing it again in March on one of the Gulf Islands between here and the mainland. You know, you've got the San Juans. Well, we've got the same thing here called the Gulf Islands. And I'm looking for places to do it in other parts of Canada and maybe in Europe. So, yeah, it's great. It's a going concern, you know.
Oh, wow. I bet it's fun for you, too.
It is fun. And like I say, I'm not sure how much we talked about it the last time, but it's kind of the backstory, or it is the backstory, of how I came to write my book, Mind, Time, and Power, you know. And the inspiration for the book and for all the research that went into the book was this dream that I had when I was 10 years old. And so this dream is arguably the most important event of my life. I mean, it's kept me going, inspired and motivated and growing, you know, ever since. And I've made my living, actually, either partly or full-time or part-time, using the material that I learned from having this dream. And yet I never told anybody about it. I never told anybody about this dream. And so the play is called Confessions of a Closet Time Traveler. And it's the backstory of the dream I had and what happened and how it inspired me to do this research and discover that your mind is a kind of a time machine, which has been the focus of my life ever since then.
Oh, yeah. Now, how old were you when you snuck up that tree and fell off of it?
I was 10.
Okay, now, was that dream the result from falling off that tree, you think?
Well, I don't know if it was the result, because I actually, when I was on the tree before I fell off it, I fell asleep. You know, there was a platform on top of the tree, and I fell asleep, and I just literally had this dream, you know. And then when I woke up and I was scampering down the tree, I fell off again, and I experienced a few more sort of thoughts, I guess, or images or something as I lay on the ground, kind of semi-conscious. So I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it now is that the dream came from the future, and that was the explanation that I finally arrived at, 20 years later, after doing all this research about the mind and time, and some ideas I got from Albert Einstein about the fact that the past, the present, and the future are all connected. And he says in some of his writings that it's possible for the cause of an event to be in the past or in the future or in a combination of the two. So actually what I finally concluded was that the dream I had was a connection to the future, and perhaps partly caused by the future, because when I was doing this research to answer how could this dream happen, I spent a long time doing meditation and remembering my childhood, looking for positive experiences in my childhood, because I got to the point when I was in my late 20s, I realized I didn't have any positive experiences in my past that I could remember. So I went on this internal quest to find, rediscover some positive experiences. And one day, after many months actually, of doing a 20-minute, I guess you call it a visualization exercise or meditation exercise, I got into the habit of doing this 20-minute visualization exercise, meditation exercise every day. And so I spent about 2 months looking for positive experiences in my past. And it took me a while. I remember it took about a week before I could remember one. But once I remembered one and I realized that I did have some happy energy, positive energy in my past, then I was able to remember more and more and more. And eventually, over a period of a couple of months, I recouped a lot of my memories from my 10th year. And one day I remembered being in this tree and having this dream. And it was like, you heard the expression, a whack on the side of the head.
Well, you probably had that. Was. Yeah, when you fell and hit your head.
No, I mean when I was doing this meditation.
Oh, right.
And I realized I just had the same dream, but I had it from the other end. Here I was 32, remembering being 10, whereas originally I was 10, getting some insight from the age of 32. And so that was the insight that really turned my life around, which was that thinking is a connection. So memory is a connection to the past and a connection to the future. There's various terms we could use. We could use goal setting or inspiration or precognition, deja vu. A lot of us have had these kinds of experiences. It's very natural. Now I realize it's the most natural thing in the world to have these things. They're called thoughts. And a thought, is a connection between 2 points in time. And so now I look at this kind of experience as the most natural thing in the world. But because I was coming from a different paradigm, the normal paradigm that we all learn as we grow up, that says, we can remember the past because it's sort of recorded in our brain, but we don't know the future yet because the future hasn't happened. Well, the new paradigm, which I talk about in my book, and which now scientists are discussing and doing research internationally, is that the mind is actually a time machine, that the past, the present, and the future are in some sense always available to us. And by concentrating on them, focusing our awareness on them, we can extract information from the past, which we call a memory, or we can extract information from the future, which could be a possible goal or achieving a possible situation in the future. So when I remembered at the age of 32, sitting on the beach in Vancouver, I finally remembered having this dream. I realized that I was connected to that 10-year-old boy. And now, as I say, it's possible that I would not have had that dream if I had not spent those 2 months intensely trying to remember my 10th year.
That's really hard. You know, the last time I had you on my show, Anthony, I started going, at night and relaxing in the bedroom and trying to remember, my early days, boyhood. And believe it or not, I managed to get back to almost about 3 years old. And I don't remember a lot of things between 3 and 5, but it seems like I went back and I remembered a fun camping trip where we went to Montana, my parents and my cousins, and visited a ghost town. I remember there was 2 giant frogs. It went jumping by our campsite, and I remember catching them and my parents getting mad at me. I remembered that. I would have never even thought about anything like that if I wouldn't have had you on the show. It was interesting.
Well, there you go. The people that have the most information about their past are people that keep diaries. Now, personally, I don't really keep a diary. I do keep a journal, But, there are people, we've all met people who have diaries, and we've heard about people that have diaries. Well, you can imagine if you kept a diary every day of your life, even just a few words, then you would be able to go back in the diary and you'd be able to say, camping trip with my parents, caught a frog, So you'd be able to remember that because you had that little note there, right? Well, most of us don't have those kind of diaries. And most of us don't set goals and don't decide on the kind of future that we want to live. But the people that do, the people that meticulously figure out what it is they want, why they want it, what's the payoff when I get it, they call those people goal achievers or whatever. Business people do this, politicians do this, scientists do this lots of times. But the average person, more or less, from research I've done, about 90% of the population